You're with Julian on the Brown Note, and the Democrats are doing nothing, and it's absolutely infuriating, and it has to stop. I was going to write this I was going to do this piece anyway, and I read this piece from David Sirotto. I'm going to try and read bits of it about how the Democrat Party in America have treated their base like mugs for decades. If a Democratic-based constituency, college-educated white-collars, communities of colour, young people, etc., went beyond merely voting in November and actually made demands of Democratic lawmakers and held them to account in the primaries, then maybe the party would pursue its purported agenda with the same urgency as the Republican Party does for its conservative base. And if that happened, maybe more voters would flock to the Democrats, who are materially improving their lives. Over the last 25 years, the opposite has happened. While the Republican normie voters were being radicalised by Fox News and talk radio, Democratic normie voters were being anaesthetised by NPR, the New York Times, the Atlantic, MSNBC, which taught them to believe that an extremist like John Roberts is a lovable moderate, Mike Pence is an American hero, George Bush a decent man, and Sam Alito on the Supreme Court a warrior for democracy. That media machine convinced Democratic normies to believe the highest calling of citizenship was simply to line up behind party-approved candidates, crush the progressive challenges in the primaries, vote blue no matter what in general elections, and do nothing more. Even when electable conservative Democrats lost and few winners produced no change. At the same time, Barack Obama and his administration persuaded normie Democrats that the celebrity candidates would save the day, the progressive campaigns, and that Obama's hand-picked Hillary Clinton was the most viable successor. Meanwhile, the Labour movement was crushed by Democrats' trade deals like NAFTA, thanks Bill Clinton, and corporate union busting, disempowering what had been a radicalising force inside the Democrats. And yet here's the admission, it wasn't just external factors that undermined the effort to mobilise normies. It was a failure of an entire generation of operative activists, advocacy journalists, policy wonks, philanthropists, filmmakers, pundits, labour lawyers, leaders, thinkers, Capitol Hill staff and politicians in left-of-centre politics. I include myself in this group of failures. We could console ourselves by feeling like Don't Look Up's Dr. Mindy when he points out, "We've been trying to warn you." But let's admit it, the campaign's advocacy and pressure of my generation and the boomers did not radicalise the normies quickly enough. We were not just outgunned by conservatives, outspent by corporatists and undermined by liberal careerists selling their souls. We were outmanoeuvred, outsmarted and outperformed. We failed, and that failure allowed Democratic leaders never to fear their own base, to the point where Democratic voters gave their presidential nomination to the candidate who authored the crime bill, allied with segregationists, championed the Iraq War, touted social security cuts, voted to let states restrict abortion and sharpen bankruptcy laws. It's a great piece. Seek it out. David Sirotto. And it was, I actually read it the day I was, like, at the moment, the Democrats are doing nothing in America despite facing actual fascism, the actual overthrow of democracy. They won an election and the Republicans are still passing the policies. They have absolutely nothing. They've got the most progressive Democrats in office ever. You cannot hear a peep. I mean, the world's most powerful military nation being overtaken by fascists is no small thing for the rest of us. This is a very dangerous thing. And the Democrats under Biden and under Clinton and under Obama are content to play around the edges and frilly nothings. Dems take their base for granted. They just think they're using the opposition being so bad that they think, well, that's going to make you vote for anyone but someone like Trump or Bush. That's dangerous. They're representing the entire business as usual side of politics. that the Trump supporters hate, and those Democrat states last time around turned to Trump because they don't want that Hillary Clinton-esque politics as usual where the Democrats are Republican light after being spooked through the 80s of election defeats and ending up with someone like Bill Clinton. But Dem voters have got nowhere to go. We've got the most progressive people in government in America ever doing nothing. Where are the policies? Where's the fight back to this overthrow of democracy through the Supreme Court? The genuine attempts to continually subvert democracy by the Trump side of an extreme right-wing fascistic Republican Party that wants to erode all Americans' rights, even the right to vote. The Dems aren't doing anything. The Republicans, I think the Democrats are actually using the takeover of the Supreme Court to win the midterms, and that is it. They're happy. They're not going to do anything about Roe versus Wade or anything because they want it hanging in the air till November. They want the spectre of gay marriage being repealed and birth control being repealed and all of these other things. They want to use that to overcome the fact that the war in Ukraine has caused their economy to crash and they would likely lose the midterms without it. So they're not even going to do anything. They're like the Republican Party and Trump and all of those people, all those voters are completely united. The Democrats don't have anything to rally around. The last time they had Trump to rally around, and look where it got them. They got the largest vote in American history. They don't have anything now. Imagine if it's someone that isn't Trump. Imagine if it is Trump again. Every single Trump supporter is completely on the same page. The Democrats don't even have a page. They don't even know what they're doing. The right are united on every single cause. We've chosen people like Hillary Clinton over people like Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden over Bernie Sanders for so long. They accept that you will vote for them, and it's getting really, really dangerous. Imagine if the Republicans actually won the next election. Do you really think they'll give up power that easily next time? They've been through it once. They know what to do. They're already remaking the law, and they don't even have a victory in the election. They don't even need to be in power to rule the country. The Democrats need to wake up.